I am super pumped to have Aaisha from Angel Squad's Emerging Founder School to talk about pitch decks and review a pitch deck that was submitted to the Second Opinion team. She brings a ton of very rich experience working hands-on with dozens of founders in the founder school. She's looked at many pitch decks. She's seen how fundraisers go from start to finish. So I think she'll bring a lot of rich perspective to this episode.
Thank you, Alex. I'm so excited to be here. So I currently lead the Angel Squad nonprofit arm. We run fellowships quarterly, and we're calling it Emerging Founder School. We have 20 to 30 fellows every quarter, and we help them really take their product from day -1 to day 0, so very early stage. We're looking at products even before they have a pitch deck. So we're almost actually not even looking at products, we're looking at ideas. And I was so excited to be able to bring some of those insights into this conversation today, Alex. So thank you for the invite.
Yeah, we're super pumped. So let's dive in. We have a pitch deck from a team called Surmount.
Okay, awesome. The AWS for Modern Investment Management. Okay. Problem slide. I think it's nice to start with a problem slide. It helps kind of break down for the audience what it is the startup is solving. I think maybe for this one, there is a lot of text on the slide, and I know this is a tiny thing, but formatting, like there's different sizes of text across the slide. I think the best way to keep it clean is to make sure all the text is the same size and, just clean up the formatting a little bit, but we can move over to the next slide.
Totally.
Yes, the AWS for Modern Investment Management. This is the second time this line came on, and I am curious to hear or understand how it is the AWS for Modern Investment Management. I know there's 3 layers on the right-hand side and kind of talks about, I guess, how the product works, but I would like to learn more about what it is that they do in like a one-liner.
Yeah, and I feel like people go for these this for that type comparisons sometimes, and I've heard the AWS one before, and I feel like AWS is so broad that it's saying a little bit too much of nothing. Especially at the earliest stages. Like I think, we'd want to be a little bit more targeted with any sort of kind of comparison or, something like this. So I don't think it's as clear as they think it is. But diving deeper into the product layers can help, elucidate over time.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. Solutions. Okay, investing agents, plug and play, investment management layer. Yeah, again, I actually don't really know what that one-liner on the product is. I understand these are all the different product features, but upon first glance, like we spend 20 seconds or less on each deck. To me, this slide isn't clear what the product is.
Yeah, it feels like almost like a mixed bag of different products, and I think they even have down here in the fine print, want something you don't see listed, let us know, which is maybe cool for like a website, but for an investor pitch, it almost signals like a lack of focus to me. So I totally agree. I think like figuring out a way to unify what the product actually is and get that into people's heads efficiently is maybe one of the most important jobs of a pitch deck, and I think we're a little bit missing the mark on it, but let's move on.
So this is kind of what the market size slide would look like. I think this is cool. I think the fact that they're able to showcase which companies they work with and what awards they've won, especially at the early stages, is nice. So this is nice.
Yeah. It's a credibility booster for sure. Overwhelming with logos. I'm not super familiar with all these logos, but I can basically gloss over the slide and say, okay, this is a real company. So we finally got there on slide 5. But all right, so we have case studies.
So case studies are interesting. I I've heard many different perspectives on this. I will say definitely include case studies, but I'm of the belief that they belong in the appendix. And maybe you can have one at the end of the deck that's before the appendix and have like a couple more after. But I wouldn't put it right in the middle. Like we're on slide 6. Like I still don't know who the team is. I don't know really what the traction looks like. I wouldn't just like start with a case study.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I think case studies are great for appendices. I think also, I do agree if you have an amazing case study that illustrates the product really well, it can kind of fit towards the end of the deck. But again, like with what we're saying, that we still don't quite understand what the product is. This is like, again, another mixed bag of case studies, different types of companies. The product, I can't really tell what the images are, so I totally agree. I think this is a bit of a weird placement, and I'm not sure if it's doing its job effectively. It does signal that people are using the product, so there's some usefulness to
Oh yeah,
it in
100%.
general, but I agree it's weird placement.
The other thing I want to mention, and again, feels like a tiny thing, but just be very wary of typos. Industry is spelt wrong, and you don't want to lose credibility on something as small as a typo, especially if it's in a customer testimony. Like
Yeah.
that's not where you want the typos to be. But I do think, in the same breath, testimonials are a great way of showcasing that you have these strong relationships, which are very important in the early stages. But just be very wary of typos.
100%. I think it's just like a clear mark on credibility. And some people don't care, but some people do. And, this is allegedly an asset that you've put a lot of thought into. And I think it, paints a bad picture if there's a bunch of typos. Totally.
Worker agnostic, all right. That's pretty cool. I like the number.
Yeah. It's a good slide.
Outperform as well. Okay. I guess this is a competitor slide. I would like to know how Surmount outperforms these competitors. I don't think that's very clear. I don't understand what the moat is per se.
Yeah.
And I think for early stage decks, we're really looking at, okay, like what is your distribution strategy, or how can you differentiate yourself from your competitors? And if that's not clear in the competitor slide, that's usually a red flag.
Totally. It's just like a trust us. We're better than all of these billion-dollar companies. Which it just doesn't
could be.
Yeah.
You might be the next big thing, but we would want to know how.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. We need to be a little bit more prescriptive with something like this. It's a bold statement. So I totally agree.
I think this is a great slide. I think the slide doesn't do the numbers justice, and I also think it shouldn't be slide 11. It shouldn't be after the case studies. I think if there's a way of bringing the traction front and center, not obviously in the beginning, but once you've like described what your product is, and then telling us what the traction is, that would be great. Right now, I don't know if I would have made it to slide 11 on my own if I wasn't sitting here with you, Alex. And I feel like we're just burying the lead.
100%. I completely agree. It's like now I got to slide 11, thankfully, because we're doing this exercise. Maybe we wouldn't have gotten there, but now I'm like, okay, maybe I have to reread this deck a little bit more thoroughly, because the traction looks really good. This is a real company. They've scaled to 3 million in ARR. It looks like they doubled ARR in the last 9 weeks. This is the lead, and it's been completely buried. So I totally agree. Yeah, and then that's it.
Okay, we have the mention for AWS again. That's count 3. That's fine. I think AWS, people love the idea of building the next AWS for something, but again, to Alex's point earlier, I think can be pretty vague. So there was no team slide. realize.
Yeah, I was just flipping back through it. It's like who is running this company? What are your thoughts on no team slide as a choice?
I mean, Logan, I think, is one of the people on the team. 100% please include a team slide. We want to know who you are. Again, in pre-seed, we are investing in the founder. We're investing in who you are as a person on top of what the product is, because the product will evolve. The product goes from really being in many different iterations of itself, and as investors we understand that, and we're very open to pivots. But if we don't know who you are, I actually don't even know if I wouldn't know how to go about reaching out to this company that I know so little about, because I know so little about the founders.
100%. 100%. It's like a true deal breaker, I think, and it's a simple slide to create. It's like table stakes, and as you just said, like regardless of stage, it's a people business. People are investing in other people's vision and ability to execute on that vision, and so I think it's a big miss to not have a team slide, because I'm sure this is a great team. They've achieved a lot in a short amount of time. So I wholeheartedly agree. That's a big miss to not have a team slide. Let's talk high level. What are there any like major takeaways and or recommendations that this deck sparks for you when we're thinking about founders watching this, looking to learn something from the way other people approach their pitch decks, the way that you help work with your founders on pitch decks, like anything high level, major takeaways that come to mind after going through this?
Yeah, I'll say I forgot the name of the company, and then I had to like really jog my memory after. So wouldn't hurt to even put some branding, not just the logo, but like it says by Surmount AI in the corner, but I would have loved to remember that at first glance after looking at the slide. So I think branding is really important, both personal and your stories branding. Obviously not everything is going to have like a passionate backstory. Like you can't really create like an advisory firm in investment management based on a passion story. I mean, maybe you could, but that's fine if you can't. But I think having some sort of memorable branding to go along with it would be really great.
Yeah.
I would say just like little things like font, typos, formatting do make a ton of difference. Like even on this first slide, there's 2 different fonts. There's actually 3 different fonts. And they're different sizes, they're different formatted, formatted differently, and I think all of those things at first glance can detract from the message, and we don't want that. So keeping things as clean and as consistent as possible is great. I think overall, the less text on your slides, the better. Putting your team and highlighting your team, highlighting the product, the solution. Even if you don't have 3 million in ARR, maybe you just have 150 users. How many of them are using it on a daily basis? How many of them are active monthly users? Like just being able to highlight those traction metrics at the early parts of the deck are really helpful. And then I think case studies are amazing. Continue to incorporate them into your decks, but it shouldn't take away from the meat of the deck. One free resource to look into for founders, and something that we use at Angel Squad to review deals, is the Hustle Fund Deal Assessment Framework. And it goes over the 5 different categories that we rate in a deck out of 4 to see whether or not the deck scored highly in each of these areas. So highly recommend looking up the Hustle Fund Deal Assessment Framework and looking at whether or not your slides actually addresses each of those categories clearly to the best of your ability. Even if you're super early on, to Alex's point, it doesn't always have to be traction that illustrates credibility. Maybe it's your experience in the past. Maybe you've worked in this industry for 15 years or however many years, that can bring a lot of just meat to the deck.
All right, so Aaisha, with that review, going through that pitch deck, what is your answer? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Would you, as an investor, be interested in meeting this company if this deck specifically came across your desk? Feel free to not hold back.
Okay, I wish I could say I would, but I don't think I would want to meet a company if I didn't know who the team was. I think that for me would be a deal breaker. And quite frankly, I don't know if I would have made it to slide 11 to know that their traction was so incredible. So I would say, unfortunately, I would pass on this. But if you are able to add in a team slide, and if you're able to kind of clean up the deck a little bit more and really showcase the traction, that answer probably would have been different.
I think I'm in the same boat. I probably would pass on this one for the exact same reasons. And it would feel a little unfortunate because if the traction is there, and I do agree that the market size is definitely there, it would be a compelling thing to take a look at, but I don't know enough about the product, and I don't know anything about the team. So I think for those reasons, it would be a no for me as well. But I think that calls it for today. This was really fun. Really appreciate you spending time with us and running through this deck, giving some awesome feedback that hopefully will be useful for everyone watching. Yeah, thanks so much, Aaisha.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you to Logan and the team for letting us review their deck. And I had so much fun, and I'm excited to see feedback that comes from this, and if anyone has any questions.